morning, everyone, and welcome to American Scousers Morning Coffee or Tea with American Scouser. Friday morning, we're back in action. It is Friday, so it is a reckless Friday, reckless as can be. What's reckless is Kazi having to work and not being here, but we have our Egyptian media insider. What's happening?
Well. The media is saying that today will be very reckless, and this might be the first time they tell the truth.
Yes, it might be the first time. A lot to talk about. Some of the stuff from like the press conference for the pre-match that he talked about. So I wanted to ask you some of his things. I know, I mean, obviously, especially stuff he said about your boy Nunez and stuff like that, like the number 9, because obviously he was asked about that after what happened, obviously against Leverkusen. So where are you at with that before we get into the depth of things? What did you take away from that game?
It keeps getting trickier because Diaz performed really well. Gakpo's on fire. Out of the three, Nunez maybe is the one that is considered underperforming, even though he's not underperforming. So I don't know. I wouldn't mind seeing Diaz in there again, and I wouldn't mind.
What?
I know, and I wouldn't mind seeing Gakpo on the left. Actually, if you go back,
So where would you like to see Nunez?
Just hold on. If you go back to last week, I said, why don't we try Diaz up top and Gakpo on the left? And I meant that for the Brighton game. And boom, it happens for the Leverkusen game. I'm like, okay. But yeah, it's not bad. Listen, if Diaz's form up top continues, maybe he'll get that starting role over there, and then Nunez will just have to come in and take it from him. That's really all I can think about. Now, I doubt that's going to happen, but I wouldn't be opposed to it.
See, that's the thing. I don't know if it was just a matter of like matchups and how, Leverkusen would line up compared to, for example, how Villa is going to line up and stuff like that. Because he did mention that, kind of they went out of their way. And this is one thing we're not used to very much. I know we did little tweaks here and there, but we're not used to starting 11 determined based on the opponents. Right, we would just do the same thing, and we're like, if you do our thing well, it will work, kind of a deal. This was kind of a tweak because he figured if it's just like regular. By the way, I don't know how I take that if I'm Darwin, but if you put a regular number 9 over there, that tie will eat you alive. So he puts Diaz over there, who's going to move all over the place to make it harder on their center backs. So is it just a matchup thing, and maybe Villa we go back to default settings?
Honestly, it might be. It might be just because this is what works out the best for that kind of team and that kind of defense and that kind of atmosphere. So that really could be it. But again, I'm at a place where, listen, if it worked once, try it again and see how it goes. And if it's something that ends up working again, maybe you could stick to it.
But if it works because you were like, hey, I know it's going to work because
of the matchup,
ideal situation for it.
Yeah.
And then, we tried again. We're like, well, I know it wouldn't work again.
Well, yeah, that's exactly what we would say, honestly. That is exactly what we'd say.
Chris Scott says, I think Slaw will put Darwin in when he's most likely to succeed, which is when. So you were, I was waiting for like a nice Nunez chat with Kazi over here as well. But Gordo will be joining us shortly. And we know how much Gordo loves Nunez. But let me ask you, what is that? Like, to you, what is that in terms of, the position for him to, like, what suits Nunez?
Just being that free running number 9. That's what Nunez wants. But Nunez wants to be the number 9 that takes the ball and comes in with it versus wait for it. But again, just an opinion. I still don't think we've seen the best of Nunez, and I still think this season we will. And I do believe that, I like his unselfish play. It's changed a little. He's a little more unselfish, but I love the running. Like he had a play at Leverkusen where he took the ball and he ran through everybody, and then he decided to shoot. But that's what we like to see. That's what you want to see from your striker. You want to see him to go get the ball, beat defenders, and try to go on goal. He gets a lot of slack and he gets a lot of shit, but he does everything he can.
Well, okay, well then that's that's where we come to. What's up, Gordo? I'm actually going to see Gordo in like a few hours over here for lunch.
Yeah.
Chicago Lands get together along with Kelly from drinking inside the box. So that should be a fun time. Having some good old fashioned barbecue over here in Romeo. But anywho, so that's why I feel like that is the only time. Chris was saying, Gordo, before you hopped on, that Slav will put Darwin in when he's most likely to succeed. And honestly, for me, if you said when is it most likely for him to succeed, I would say like a game like the Leverkusen game. We're up by 2. They're going to come out. There's going to be space behind for him to run into.
Yeah, I mean, that's classic, right? That's like he causes the chaos after the game's settled. I've always said that about him is the running that he does off the ball is sometimes chaotic, but what that does is totally disrupt lines. And as players, as people who have played the game before, that game settles in about 30 minutes and there's that rhythm. And once you disrupt that rhythm, it takes 3 or 4 or 5, 10 minutes sometimes to get back into it. And he provides that. He totally creates that chaos. So whether or not he's on the score sheet or whether or not he's assisting, he's doing other work off the ball. And that's where I think he succeeds the most, is coming off the bench. Now, what I will say is he is the type of player that you start him and he does something that gets the crowd going within the first 5 minutes, he's locked in for the rest of the game. He's just that type of player that if he squanders an early couple chances when you start him, his head starts to seem to go. And then also he's got the added risk of it was the Arsenal game where I really felt like he was going to get sent off because he started there's teams when they're behind, they're like, all right, we can't play with you with the ball, so let's try and disrupt you by making you annoying you. And he seemed to be getting dragged into that secondary game that's happening, and he's always got the risk there for that.
Sergi says Nunez has been criticized for not shooting. When was this? I really. So he's damned if he does, damned if he doesn't.
Exactly. Sergi criticizes him for not shooting. Literally, Sergi's always like, he's not shooting enough. I'm like, brother, when he shot, you said he was shooting too much.
I feel like at one point he was shooting too much, but I guess you can say the same about Gakpo. I think the key is when you're shooting, ideally get it on target. What I feel is when I watch Gakpo coming in from the wing, and he has that advantage of coming in from the wing, right? But his threat of the shot really opens up so much space for him that he gets that. Actually, I think Diaz does not get that. If he cuts in, people are afraid of the shots, which creates more space, or which brings people to him, so it creates space behind, and he can actually now cross the ball and stuff like that as well. So he can do both really well. I mean, is that Gakpo's spot now, or we're gonna go back and forth with Diaz still? Because honestly, when you compare performances, it's kind of hard. If you looked at the ranked our top guys in the front line on. I mean, it's basically the trio we played until Jota gets back and stuff. The trio we played against Leverkusen seems to be the trio.
Yeah. As of now, simply based on performance and production, that is your trio. We're not gonna try to force somebody in just because we like them. You want to look at production, you want to look at numbers. Diaz has been performing absolutely amazing all season. Gakpo comes in and does the same. We even had an issue where so do we just use Gakpo for the Champions League and Diaz for the league? But he's playing so well. And now Slot found a way to make both of them work out together. And I'm not against it. It was actually, again, it's something I thought might work, but I didn't think it would work that well. But again, we don't want to assume that that's going to be the case with Diaz every week. There are games where you need a big body presence in the box. The Newcastles, the Forests. There's these, teams that you need a big body in the box like Nunez. So I still believe, like you said earlier, Timuchin, this is a situational lineup, and that would work out against a team like Leverkusen. But I don't see this working out against a more aggressive team. Let's say, the good example, if Stoke were in the league, this wouldn't work out, right? Because you need a big body that you're going to throw around. Oh, thank God they're not.
That big body though? Do you feel do you feel we got a big 9 in the box? Because that's not really his game.
he's what 6'5". He's 6'5". He's big and strong versus Diaz, who's what, maybe 5'9".
I mean, yeah,
still
but we're
think
not
he
going by
prefers-
size.
Yeah,
Well,
I think he still prefers the ball on the ground without a
Yeah.
whole lot of physical contact. Like he seems to me the type of player that likes that ball over the top, and I know he does because he gets so excited. He's caught offside all the time. So I think he doesn't. I don't want to say shies away from the physical side because he always seems like the one that gets stuck in after, when everyone's throwing handbags. He seems like the first one, like, oh yeah, this is what I live for. But like on the ball, he seems like somebody that he's not looking for that like shoulder to shoulder all game long type of like let me dig in and create some chaos.
The question is, who is it harder to get off the ball, Diaz or Nunez? Just based on a 50-50 body to body
Nunez.
challenge.
Yeah, Nunez,
Diaz.
sure.
He's gonna fly. You get some like I'm not saying he's a big body, like he's an Andy Carroll who just wants the ball at his head 90% of the time. But both of them like to run with the ball at their feet, and if they're both gonna play at that position, who is gonna be harder to get off the ball? And it's going to be Darwin. He's harder to get off the ball. And if you get him off the ball, he's going to get angry, get up and swing at you and maybe get a red card. But that's for a different day. That's a different conversation. It's just Diaz is very easy to get him off the ball. Even when he's playing on the wing, he's trying to beat the defender. He's so easy to give away the ball. And that's why a lot of people complain, is because he loses the ball so much. That's the biggest difference in that number 9 in the box. Now, I liked his third goal. I think it was, he didn't even think about it. Stop and shoot. He didn't try to beat nobody. He said, okay, this is not Diaz anymore. This is Lucho. And he just took it, boom, on target. That I like. That's what you want in your number 9. Like I believe it was, maybe it was Fowler or Ian Rush who said it. Put the ball in the back of the net, then we'll think about your options. That's exactly what he did. Afterwards, he's like, maybe I could have done that. Maybe I could have done that. That I like to see. I still don't think Darwin would have done that. I think he would have touched it and tried to do something and finished it. And that I liked.
Last year Diaz would, right? Like he would almost like try to get past 2 more guys and dribble into the goal. I mean, is that just confidence that he's just? I mean, even the second goal, he brings it down and he shoots it. Normally, it would be more of a like bring it down, try to get past one guy, turn around, and then before you know it, there are like 4 guys on you. He can't get a shot up and stuff. It feels like Gordo, he's kind of has more confidence in his shots, maybe because he can like visualize it constantly going in. So you just like crank up the shots because you're like, hey, this seems to be working a lot better.
Yeah, and again, I always go back to say this, but we don't see what happens on a day-to-day basis in training. I mean, everything could be working in training, which that was my only defense for him last year, that he continued to get starts from Jurgen. We only see 90 minutes a week, or like last week we saw 3 games in 7 days, so it's a little bit more than that. But like for just examples, we only see 90 minutes a week. And they're in training every single day. And maybe there's something that's really working well in training, and it's just something about dropping him into those bigger situations that he's not finding the back of the net the same way.
Yeah, okay, let me read you guys this. Basically, he was asked about the number 9 position. So he says, depends on the availability. When we had Darwin and Diogo, we always played one of those 2. The moment Diogo was no longer available, in my opinion, because we played so many games and Darwin didn't play in the first games, it was too much for him. So that's why we started to come up with other ideas. I especially like the last idea. I think every Liverpool story did with Lucho scoring 3 goals. 2 as a 9, 1 as a winger. He did make a point of that in the post-match press conference, that the 3rd goal came when he was a winger and not when he was a number 9. Yeah. Well, our number 9 kind of like took the shot, which I'm okay with that. People were giving him so much shit for that, but when we were on the 4-on-2, he's just trying to get his goal in. It's already like 3-0. Yeah, whatever. You can crank your shot over there. I will be pissed, though, if that was at 0-0 and he's trying to crank the shot. But Lucho is also a very good left winger. At this moment, we have 4 attackers available for 3 positions, so we could come up with another idea again. But if Diogo comes back, Darwin is back, then we got 2 number 9. So it sounds like that's why when I was like watching the game, I made a comment in the Discord that Nunez is probably like, fuck, now we're going to compete with another guy for number 9, aside from like Diogo. Do you think this is just a matter of rotation? Are you buying that, Anan? Because let's be fair, he keeps saying the same thing about left back, and we started not buying that as much. It's rotation. He didn't have preseason. You know how it be, kind of a thing.
Yeah. I'm kind of buying it, kind of not. I think it's a little bit of both. He does mean it. Once Jota's back, that's it. We got 2 number 9s and that conversation's over. But when Jota's not there, and if Nunez isn't scoring, then he's got competition. And right now, Diaz is scoring. It's as simple as that. Now, again, I don't want to say, oh, Diaz is the best number 9 we have. He's only had one game, and it's a situational thing where it worked out against Leverkusen. I don't know if that works out against a Palace. I don't know if that works out against anybody. Hey, that's my boy Mihaly. Let's go.
Yeah,
Hungry,
Mihaly, the Kakis guy is back. Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. I think, we go into the league this Saturday, this Sunday, this weekend. Nunez starts up top and Diaz plays on the left, simply because Gakpo played on Wednesday for 75, 74 minutes, and he played on Saturday. Well, he played against Brighton, then he played against Brighton, then he played against Leverkusen. I don't think he starts. I think he sits him out. We are going into an international break, so I don't know what happens there, but he sits him out for this one, and Diaz starts on the left, Nunez up top. If we're down, if it's not looking good by the 60th or whatever minute, I wouldn't be surprised if we see Gakpo go to the left and Diaz go up top, and it's like, go get another one. That's just what I think would happen. I don't know.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, I think we have a slight rest advantage. We played Tuesday. These guys just played yesterday, right? Oh, no, they played Wednesday, but they went away. So I think we have an advantage that way in terms of rest. What do you expect to see, Gordo, when we line up tomorrow?
I don't think it's the same lineup, right? I think that he doesn't choose Diaz. I'd be surprised. Let's just say that I'd be surprised if I saw Diaz in the center. I really do think that we'll see Nunez starting up top in the center, and I mean, it's Villa. I don't know if you guys saw, but the shocker that Tyrone Mings had in his first game back.
What the heck was that?
Yeah. So we'll see if he gets a start because his head's clearly not in it. But, like if Tyrone Mings is there, like who do you want starting next to somebody whose head's kind of a little not totally in the game? I don't know. I'm not Nunez's biggest fan as a non-nose. I really do not. I'd rather him not be in the starting lineup, but I think anybody on the team that's currently healthy, I'd want Darwin right next to Tyrone Mings all game long, giving him absolute nightmares.
I wonder if he's going to start. Yeah, I mean, did you see that, Anand, where he just gave away? I did not see it live, but I watched the last 20, 30 minutes of the game. And then as the game ended, they talked about, like he said, like a very bizarre penalty and stuff. So I was like, what are they talking about? And didn't this happen against us with Gakpo? He pressed the ball, but then like the ref stopped the game. Like the goalie had touched the ball. Gakpo went and got the ball.
It went opposite for us because we played it. Gakpo put it in the back of the net, and they were like, no, we whistled. Yeah. And it was like, wait a minute. There was 2 whistles because you whistled. He took the kick.
Yep.
And then we got it and scored, and then you whistled again. That didn't make any sense.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, basically, the goal kick was taken to him. He wasn't paying attention when the goal kick was taken to him. So he kind of suddenly looks up. He sees the ball rolling. I don't know if he assumed that it was like somebody from the ball boy like threw it too hard. But what was weird to me is what I was telling Angie is, I don't know about you guys, but as somebody like who plays soccer, my reflex is more catching things with my foot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
like it means a lot more on that. Like if something is falling, I just like reach out with my foot. Like I don't know why, but that's like I don't like dive with my hand. Like if I was a baseball player, maybe I would. So I actually found it really odd for him. Like first of all, I'm too lazy to bend over and pick up the ball. I would just kick it back to the goalie. I wouldn't pick it up. It was so odd and on that he just like leaned over, picked it up like an old man, and like gave the ball back.
And now I don't know if you guys saw this or not, but 2 weeks ago in the Bundesliga second division, it happened in the same game twice.
Yes, I did see that.
The goalie passes the defender the ball. He's like, "Oh, thank you," and he picks it up, and then it's a penalty. And then not even 10 minutes later, on the other end, the goalie's like putting the ball out. The defender comes in and grabs it with his hand and moves it, and the ref's like, "That's also a penalty." And it was like the weirdest thing. It was like the funniest sequence I've ever seen in my life. And then now it happens in the Champions League. I was like, in my head, I'm like, "Wow, these low-level idiots." And then it happens in the Champions League, like at the highest level of European football. My goodness, man.
I just don't know how that even happens. How does that even freaking happen? And I just don't, like I say, I thought it was like weird. I gotta ask. I didn't get a chance to talk to Shay. I know he was on like the panel the night of on the Premier League panel, but I thought it was just like I can't even imagine conceding a goal like that and how frustrating
losing the game because of that decision.
Yes,
you know,
and especially when they were on a roll. Like I guess lucky that they were already on a roll and they
Yeah.
have a lot of like points in the bank. But
Yeah.
which I don't know that PSG win looks as good as it did before when PSG was like the lowest thing. But this is a good question. Robbie is in the house. Question: how did Liverpool we avoid making silly mistakes that invite trouble? I'm assuming he's referring to more about when we build in the back. I mean, somebody with my blood pressure levels on game day, it's not the ideal situation, but I think it's kind of like part of our game. Unfortunately, I have to put up with it when Kelleher waits till like the last second to pass the ball and stuff like that. And I'm like, oh my God. But I know why, and I know it works. At some point, you have to almost like, oh, because it worked, you score so many goals. So I guess it's okay to give one up. Hopefully the timing is not bad.
Yeah, and it really, that is all about confidence on the ball, and that only comes with the amount of points that we've collected this year and the amount of, or the lack of goals that we've let in. The back, like, it really does, and like, again, it's, you just go back to like how you feel when you're playing. When your team is on fire, you can almost go on autopilot with those situations where I'm not scared to be. You're not even thinking about, I've got the ball, I'm 20 yards from my own net, and I'm at home playing in front of 69,000 people. You don't even think about it. It's just like, this is what happens when you're losing games, or when you're under the caution, you're like 2-0 down. That stuff starts to creep in when the crowd's jeering at you. So I feel like that's all about confidence, because you look at like the Brighton Carabao Cup game with Steele.
Yeah,
like, there was like, why are you still passing back to him? Like, he clearly doesn't want to be on the ball. Like, do not pass it back. And they did it 3 times in a row, and we really should have punished him for it. Like, if we had not come away with maximum points from that, or like it went to penalties, I would have been really upset. I would have pinpointed those times that we really should have punished him for doing that. But you look at teams that do that, and then you feel a lot more confident watching Liverpool do it.
Yeah, I mean, back in my day, because I played center back while sweeper, libero back in the day. Yeah, if I did that, I would be shot on sight by the coach, probably like screwing around back there. But it's part of the game now. I mean, everybody is doing it and at like different levels. I guess when you have the confidence, it works well. But when we make a mistake, I remember still like the Gomez mistake from last year. Was that last season with Ali? Ali was in the corner of the box and the ball like rolled, probably like one of the most comical. I mean, it's pretty close to the freaking Minks penalty in terms of like comical goals we conceded. But I mean, what are your thoughts over that? And I think it's part of the ordeal. We have to kind of get used to this modern day game, because when you boot the ball, you're basically giving away a possession, and in a possession-based game, you got to be able to hang on to the ball.
I think this was a conversation we had in preseason. The style of Slot, and again, it was funny. And Serzi said, "Anan, if you realize that, imagine everybody else noticed it." I'm like, yeah, that's pretty valid. But he likes, and he's spoken about it, and he's made it clear that he likes to put pressure in the back, start it from the back, so he can get the opponent to attack him as high as possible. He wants that. He wants to draw you to him as much as you can. Now, that shit is nervy as fuck, because yes, Jurgen did that, but Jurgen wasn't doing it to get you to attack him. It was get you to just keep the ball moving. Versus Arne, he wants you to come all the way at him, and then when you're there, it's like, okay, we'll start playing. Like, dude, that shit is not okay. Like, I got heart problems, man. Like, this is not how it works.
Yep.
I don't mind it because it seems to be working 9 out of 10 times. But the time where it's scary, and I'm not pinpointing or picking anybody, when you got somebody like Kwanzaa on there, and Kwanzaa is just, he hasn't played enough to be used to the system. And you get him in, and we saw what happens. He wants to make that extra pass that he's required to make, but he's just not doing it right. And then boom, he gets an assist, but not the kind we want. And boom, now we're losing, now we're down, now it's nervy. I also, weirdly enough, I trust Kelleher with this more than Ali, because Ali has the tendency to keep the ball a little longer and then try to dribble you. And then if it doesn't work out, he'll pass it. Versus Kelleher's like, okay, fuck, I got to get rid of it. Even if it's late, he's still going to make the pass first. Ali has this little bit of Brazilianness in him, where he wants to take it, he wants to beat you, then he wants to make the pass. Overall, I think it works, but there's going to come a time where we play a team that's got a very high press that knows exactly what we're doing, and we're going to be on skates. And that worries me. That really worries me.
Trap, right? I mean, it's the trap, and it depends on how well you set the trap and how well you execute. So if they do come up, and then, yes, you play around them, and suddenly you got all the space in the world for people like Diaz and Gakpo and Mo and stuff like that. I actually have really liked our plan B when people do press well, being able to, and usually it's been Mo, because we don't necessarily, and I think Chris was talking about earlier in the comments, I think Nunez has done a lot better job with that this year in terms of being an actual target man to be able to kind of hold the ball and then distribute it when we go over the press and stuff like that. But is it like when you throw some names out there, maybe like with Ali, but I feel like that's the same thing with Kwanzaa too, Gordo, is sometimes these errors that Ravi was talking about come from almost like overconfidence, not lack of confidence, but overconfidence, where, almost like lazy passes in some way, not putting your entire foot through it, not getting the right pace on it, because it's just like, this is what we do. We're all casual over here. We're casual, but you're still going to be careful with the ball.
Yeah, and that's why especially in the Premier League, a lot of teams will set up against a lot of the lower teams will set up against bigger teams. It's like, these are the opportunities we need to capitalize. When they're 1-0 up, they've had 65, 70% possession, and we've got to hit them when they think basically they're invincible, and they're too much on autopilot, where they're just like, I've got the ball, I haven't been challenged all day. And you kind of lose the sense that, yeah, I'm actually in a game right now, and you've got to kind of rush at them. And sometimes teams will even hold off. They'll play their own way, or they'll play park the bus, especially away from home, and with a team like Liverpool. And then the second half, the game plan is, all right, now rush the center backs when they have the ball, because they want to play out, and that's the game plan that they go for. So you always have to be conscious of that, and it only takes one. And hopefully, what happens is you lose the ball in that situation, it goes wide, and then you're like, all right, the crisis averted. I know there's a threat. Now I can get back to playing.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I know what he means, though, because it does make it very nervy watching. But the fact that it works, you're like, I guess I have to deal with this.
It's worth the risk. It's the risk and reward kind of thing. Like, we've conceded one error because of it in the last 10 games, but we've scored, 27, 28? Yeah. Risk reward, you're like, okay, it's worth it. If we're up 4-0 and we make that one mistake, only thing we lose is the clean sheet. But we're still winning, we're still creating, we're still able to win games comfortably. So it's worth it. Everybody was surprised with Pep when he started the tiki-taka at Barcelona, because everybody's like, this is too much passing. Mm-hmm. This is killing the game. But in average, they were scoring 3-4 goals a game.
To be fair, it was killing the game. It was a bore to watch. I'll give people that.
But what did it do?
It was so effective that, like, a lot of people will pinpoint to him that he single-handedly has changed the game that we know, because it was so effective.
Yeah, those videos pop up of kids in high school or grade school playing soccer, and everybody's like, Pep, you ruined the game, because the kids are just passing the ball. Yeah. Nobody's even going to go like, tuck, 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 tuck. He's like, you ruined the game. My kids can't have fun anymore.
Yep. And I can see that, though, right? Like, it's almost like, they bored you to death. And then suddenly, ping, they would go over the top, and you're like, oh, shit. Like, because I was just watching you guys over there.
So am I the only one that enjoys that? Like, do you guys not like that? Do you guys not like that type of football?
Look, I don't ever.
Playing it, yes. Watching it, no.
Yeah. Playing is a lot more fun when you're like, ole, ole. But I do not ever like applauding Tottenham. But when you watch the 4 Tottenham goals at the weekend, that was all, like, the goals were so simple because they were all basic tap-ins, because the passing was so nice. And sometimes when you watch the highlight reels, like, I tried never to watch Spurs unless we're playing them. But, like, when you watch the highlight reels, it's like, oh, those were nice. I like that. That was nice. So I do I like that. But also there's something missing about, like, that, the lack of individuality of, like, all right, we're going to give you the ball and you do something magic. Like, so I forget who it was. Was it Bielsa that was saying, like, look at Messi, 15 years ago? There's, like, nobody like that. Like, that's like, here, take the ball and do something on your own and create space and either pass it or score a wonder goal. Like, there's none of that anymore. It's very, like, take look at the percentages of what's going to work and take the highest percentage, which is always like a lateral pass or like between the lines with a run in. So like,
why is that? Do you guys think? By the way, like, is it because
works.
defenses are better? Like, you used to have, Messi was like that. Like Maradona was like that. Like you have players where, and like that's why there was a number 10 position that doesn't exist anymore. Are defenses better? Or you can't afford to have a guy who just does that but doesn't defend? Like, why do you guys think that has kind of disappeared? I mean, you isolate wingers and stuff now, but these guys were like literally in the center of the pitch, and you would like be like, here you go, do something.
So the biggest thing in it, just what I think, not defenses got better, but defense changed. I mean, look at defending 10, 15 years ago. Look at defending 20 years ago. It was just about aggression and about hurting you and about, ooh, look at Gattuso, he's an asshole. Ooh, look at Nesta, he's going to break your leg. Oh, Cannavaro, he's going to destroy you. That was, I mean, Jamie Carragher, he wasn't the most talented and gifted defender, right? But he was aggressive and he had heart and he was going to get the ball. Same can be said about Rio Ferdinand. And then the new wave of defenders came where it changed and it became more about possession. Look at Van Dijk. Van Dijk isn't going to come charging at you. He's going to put his leg, he's going to bend his knees, and he's going to kind of follow you until he gets the ball. What's the easiest way to beat him? Only one player beat him in 2 seasons. Why? Because it's tough. He's not coming at you. What you can do is pass the ball. Now you're making him look here and look there, and the ball is going back and forth. It's harder for defenders to defend this. When I play defense, it's much harder for me to defend somebody who's passing than somebody who's going to try to dribble at me. Because somebody who's trying to dribble at me, what is he? A righty? Send him to the left. What is he? A lefty? Send him to the right. Now try to contain him. Versus the pass, like, oh fuck, now I gotta go here. Now I gotta go there. Yeah. So that makes the game easier. It opens up space. And just like Slot does, with all this passing, your players are gonna press, and eventually they're gonna get beat because they've passed the line so far that now the ball can just be pinged behind them. Yeah. This is just what I think. Defending back then, like Eric Cantona likes to call it, they were just donkeys. They would get the ball and they would just boot it. And before they get the ball, they're just sliding and pushing and shoving. And as soon as they get it, boom, it's gone. So the game has changed.
Survive as a center back these days.
So you were a donkey.
You have to be an athlete. Yeah, he didn't want to say it. He's like, yeah.
No, I mean, yeah, that is right, though. Like Carragher and stuff. I mean, I was probably more that kind of a guy where, I knew good positioning. I didn't have speed, but you had aggression, good positioning. And that was enough. Really, that was enough, especially for sweeper, which doesn't exist anymore. But that was kind of enough. As long as you could sense danger, get your butt over there, and make people pay, like ball or guy kind of a thing.
Right.
That was enough.
And then if you remember back then, even in professional football, as soon as that defender makes that tackle, even, go all the way back to Roberto Carlos, when he was playing for Madrid or Helguera playing for Real Madrid, any of those, Ramos when he was at Sevilla, they would make the tackle and right away they would, almost hurt the guy or whatever it is. And they would all go celebrate with them. Yeah. Oh, let's go. Like, guys, like literally nothing happened. It's just, you just won the ball.
Is that partially because though now you can't make those tackles?
And now you can't make
half the tackles that I used to make back in the day, have tackles that were in the league. I don't know, 10 years. Like one was it like the other week, couple of weeks ago, somebody put like, look at Gerard's tackles or something like that. I can't remember, in one of the Facebook groups, there was like a video. And I'm like, yeah, this is great, but half of these are a red card now. Like,
yeah, I mean, because Jared would bend one knee and slide with the other leg and almost boots up, and he would get the ball. But still, today this is dangerous play. It's it's risking an opponent. And then we can go further and go back to when Maradona and Pelé were playing. There was no defending; they were just running.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
So the game went from just running to evolving to violence to a little more technical to now it's very, very technical. Defending is technical. Even in FIFA, for goodness sake. Now you got tactical defending and legacy defense. I don't even know what it means. I lose. Like I
know that's why you don't show up against me on FIFA.
It changed.
No. I wish I could tell more, but you started hiding. So I should really do more hustling, Gordo, when I play these guys from American Scouts or on FIFA. Like struggle in the beginning. Yeah. So they're tempted.
Is shoot X or B? Is that a lot? I think my controls are backwards. That's what I used to do.
Why is my guy? Why is my guy always offside? Oh wait, that's Nunez. Never mind. That's part of the game.
No, I beat a lot of them in the beginning, and then you never see them again. They're like, "Oh yeah, man, it's been busy. I don't get online as much." If Liverpool signs a midfielder in January, Mihaly are insider with the Hungarian media. I hope they sign Dominic on loan. Man,
That's an
Really?
expensive player. That's a
Excuse
very
me?
expensive player to loan out.
Excuse me? Excuse me? What are we talking about here?
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing, and we'll talk about Jones because he did talk about Jones in the pre-match press conference as well, and talked about how becoming a dad is really what improved his game. I don't know. I don't know how that works. I guess maybe he's trying to get out of the house and practicing more. I
Yeah,
don't know
right.
what it is, but to avoid the crying and stuff. But I think the only problem I have probably with Jones is sometimes, and he did mention in the press conference that he does hold the ball a few seconds too long. It's just release. You made the move, clear the space. And Giannis says, is it better for Dominic to sit on the bench? So I guess this becomes I'm not even going to ask Anand because I know what the answer is going to be. But Gordo,
Not gonna
I'll ask
happen.
you who's your starting three right now? Big game, you had to throw your best three out there. Are you putting Jones out there? Or are you putting still Dominic?
Is this candy Turkish?
What does it say?
Domla. Domla. It looks Turkish.
Is it Damla? Damla?
Yeah.
Yes, that means drop.
Oh, nice.
Or drop.
Okay, back to it. Now that I distracted him.
Drop off.
New question.
Now that I distracted him, now say Szoboszlai is the best player ever. No, you don't bench Szoboszlai. We talked about his work rate. We talked about what he does, and it's more than just a final third pass or whatever. There's a lot more to it with Dom this season that we've seen. With all love and respect to Jones, he isn't on Szoboszlai's level. He's just not. I know.
That's why I didn't ask you, damn it. I was asking Gordo because I knew your answer.
No, I mean let's be real. Let's be real. He's had one good 19 minutes, and now we're in love. Just a few minutes before we were sick of him, and he's holding the ball too long, and he was doing all that. I get it. He's a very good player. Don't get me wrong. But you don't look at Szoboszlai just for that final third pass, the assist that Jones got. You look at him for everything that he does. You take Dom out of that midfield in big games, and we're struggling. We're struggling for work rate. We're struggling for tracking back. We're struggling for building. I love Jones. I don't want it to be misunderstood. It's just not. We can't compare yet. Just don't. Candy turkey.
Yeah, I do agree with Anand here because I do think if you look,
what is happening here? What the hell is going on?
Look, I love Jones.
Reckless.
Again, I really do love Jones, but big games, he's a big body in the midfield. He provides the tackling. He doesn't seem like a player that gets sucked into the gravity of the game. And there's this hope that what's there with Dom, right? There's all we need to do is unlock either whether it's positionally, because we were talking on Wednesday, in his past roles and even with Hungary, sometimes he plays on the right, and we thought this might be a decent cover for Mo when he comes in. It's not really a centrally minded person. He's more center right. And we haven't really been playing him in that position. And look at Gravenberch, right? Last year, really, really rough. And now he's in a position that he feels comfortable with, and he's absolutely dominating. And I just feel like there's a player there, and we just have to dust him off and find him. Whereas Jones is that is the best we're going to see from Jones. And I don't think that's the best that we're going to see from Dom. So there's a little, I don't know, maybe it's just
but
me.
This is the complete opposite of what you normally say with Nunez.
No, because
leave the guy alone.
No, because look, what I don't like about Nunez is he's a center forward. We bought him to score goals, and he doesn't stay inside. It's very frustrating. Everything breaks down sometimes when he's on the ball. Whereas Dom I don't think we brought him in to score goals. I think we brought him in to be that midfield bruiser that sprays balls around. And I think we get that. It's I don't know.
Okay, so let's do it this way.
I have
I'm
mixed
not
feelings.
Totally disagreeing. I just play, I'm just playing devil's advocate, and I'm not totally disagreeing with you guys because I think there are certain things that Szoboszlai brings. I've been the one saying all this time while Sergi and everybody over in Discord was slamming him from wall to wall. I'm the one saying, look at this work off the ball and stuff. But having said that, So there are easier things to see. I think what Dom is better at, right? Obviously, physically, I think he's a lot. He's faster and stuff like that. What does Jones do, Anan, that is better than Szoboszlai?
Say he's a scouser. I don't know. So here's the thing. Serzi is
There's
just jealous.
nothing that
Serzi
Jones
is just
does
jealous of Dom's hair. I'm just gonna put that out there. No, there's what can Jones do better than Szoboszlai? I guess right now I will say that final pass. The final pass, sometimes Szoboszlai stresses me out with the final pass. I just feel like he makes the bad decision, or he makes the pass a tad too late. Versus Jones, even when he makes the pass too late, he threads it perfectly. And I'm gonna be real, he's only had 2 key passes all season, so it's not like it was like, oh my god, he's turned into a prime fucking Pirlo. But right now, the final pass is coming better from Jones than Szoboszlai, just based on the two good passes he's done. Other than that, I'm not seeing anything that Jones can offer that Dom can't. And I really like Jones, and I want him to improve.
So what does Dom offer that Jones can't?
Physicality,
from potential.
Physicality, presence, work rate. Yeah, his presence in the midfield, his work rate.
He's a big guy.
His tackling.
Yeah, physically, he's a lot
winning the ball back
imposing.
And allowing for us to play in the system that we do now. When you're building from the back, and a guy like Dom is receiving the ball, if he's not, if he's got his back turned to the opponent, he's able to find space, and he runs in space with the ball. Versus Jones, I just don't trust, because I don't know. He decides all of a sudden that he's 2007 Cristiano Ronaldo that's going to beat everybody, and he decides to just go at people, and eventually he loses the ball. Now I'm going to ask you this, and just be honest with me. Just be honest. Thanks, Zuby. Just be honest with me. Would Jones start for Manchester City?
Oh, you don't have to think about that, right?
I'll tell you this.
There's no way.
No, I
There's
was
no
like
way.
kind of, because I know
He said
where
yes!
this is going, but neither would Szoboszlai.
See, that's where you're wrong. I think Szoboszlai is a perfect Pep player. He's perfect for Pep.
For what? In what way?
You can't pass through the middle with
his midfield. Can you imagine the midfield of in a perfect world for City of Rodri and Szoboszlai? You've got one that's winning the ball in Rodri, and one that's given the work rate and the pressure to allow for Rodri to step up and win the ball. This is what Szoboszlai offers.
So why doesn't he offer it to us? I
mean, he does,
but I'm just saying, like, so why do you think the final pass is not there? Because I think, are all in agreement here that the peak and the potential for Szoboszlai is higher. It might not be fair, maybe, because I think Szoboszlai has had a lot more opportunities than Jones has had.
Are they not the same age?
Yes, I think they are, but you know what I'm saying?
Just one looks like he's going to be on the cover of GQ, and the other one looks like he's still on spring break in Miami.
Yeah. One looks like he's going to be on the cover of GQ.
I think they're like almost the same age. Szoboszlai is 24, and I think Jones is 23, isn't he? I'll do the work, guys. You guys lay down. Right.
Okay. No, but I'll tell you why why the final pass isn't there. You ask, and I think Gordo said it perfectly. He's not really playing in a position he's used to playing in. He's more of a right-sided midfielder. He's not a number 10. He's not a center midfielder. He's not your number 6. He's a right-sided midfielder who drifts to the right. And Mihaly can tell you this when he watches him play for Hungary. He drifts to the right. And he plays out of there. Even when he played for Salzburg, he is a kind of player that drifts to the right and does everything he does there. This is why the final pass is in there. When you're passing the ball from the right, the way your body shape is versus when you're passing it from the center or from the left, it's completely different as somebody who's played the game. So that's where I believe he lacks his body adjustment to the position he's in. Mo does it perfectly. Whenever he's out of position, whenever he's worried about making the wrong pass, he does the outside of the foot pass, and it just works out so perfectly. See, if Szoboszlai can learn that, we've got a different player on our hands. But to me, he is a perfect midfielder who's giving you all the work rate that you need. Grealish and Doku wouldn't start.
They don't start for Pep either.
Yeah, they don't start.
They don't start for Pep either. Okay, I have a different theory, but Gordo, why do you think his final pass is not there? Why are we not getting? He's
also exhausted as shit by the time he has the ball. Can we say that?
My theory.
Gordo, go ahead.
He can do both at the same time and do the other one as well. That's my theory. Like and I've kind of made this analogy a couple of times, almost like an NBA player. You kind of go at him, make him defend, so he's not as good when he's attacking.
Right.
I kind of see it like that, but is that going to change over time as he gets used to the work rate? Because he was doing this last year too, like trying to fill in for that handle role, and he was not doing it well defensively. So I feel like he's doing it a lot more better defensively this year. But I am not buying he is more used to passing from the right thing, because it has not been, most of it has been decision making, like the ball is going to the wrong place. And half those times, it's not even going there because the pass is bad as well. But it's the wrong decision to start with. And I think tired minds make wrong decisions.
Sure, but this is how I defend myself against Nunes and Dom, and how I feel about these two players, because Nunes is playing.
That one hurt, huh?
Nunes, yeah. Nunes is playing in the position he's supposed to be playing in, right? I feel like that's the position that he's most comfortable with, and he's not succeeding. Whereas Dom, as three players who have played and who've had experiences in probably bigger games or difficult games, your first response, like when you're at a party you don't know, you're reaching for the hams or whatever you guys like to drink, like your comfort beer. He doesn't have that right now. So like his first decision making is probably, look to the right because that's what I'm most comfortable with. That's what I want to step into. That's where I feel most confident. And he's got Trent on the right that creeps inside, so he's got no room behind him. And then you've got Mo, who Mo is never going to leave the touchline of the right side unless he's got the ball at his feet. So he's got absolutely no space out there to look. And I think that it is that decision-making of he goes to comfort level of like in autopilot. And so it's always, he's making a second decision. It's always, with him, it's like his first decision is go right. And then he remembers, I can't go right. And then by the time he needs to just cut that out of like, I can't go right. I've got my first decision-making has to be either to hold it and play it back, or to turn to with his back to goal, turn to my right and play up the left. And until he gets I want to look right first because that's where I feel most comfortable. And that also comes with confidence. Right now he's not confident, so you want to go to what makes you feel confident, which for him would be the right side, or him turning to the left with his back to goal. And he doesn't have that right now. So he has to cut his first choice out of his mind because it's never there. And oftentimes, especially in bigger games, when you don't have the time to make two decisions, you can only make one. That's where I think we're seeing the delay.
So you guys are thinking it's more about time and getting adjusted. Is that what you guys are saying?
I'll say it this way: when he played in the in the Bundesliga, when he played for Leipzig, or when he played also for Salzburg, in 62 games he had 16 assists. Right, for Liverpool in 44 games he's got 4 assists. That just tells you that the system isn't favoring his style, because this is a guy who was just banging an average, couple of assists every game, or an assist or two every other game, versus now he's struggling to find that key pass. It's not because he can't pass the ball. We know he can. When we signed him, we were excited for his set pieces and his long balls. Just he hasn't had the opportunity because he's not playing where he's used to. But also, without taking a shot at Darwin to defend Dom, our strikers aren't finishing those passes. So I'm very conflicted right now. Like I want to talk about something, but I can't.
I am not buying that he's not in the position to make assists. We just talked about his shitty passing in the final third. If he doesn't do shitty passing in the final third, he would have more assists.
But I think what Anand and I are both in agreement is he starts in big games over Jones because of the defensive side of his.
Yes.
Not right now, his offense. Obviously, Jones, I feel like, offers you, I think everyone here is in agreement, and everyone, even in the comments, is in agreement. Jones has a better final pass. He's the better attacking player at this moment in time. And but in big games where you don't want people to play through you.
That Mihaly makes, that he takes the free kicks on the corners, so obviously that kind of helps.
Yeah, he's scoring the free kicks, obviously the one that we keep seeing, and he is taking the corners. And I still believe that I'd love to see him on corners for us. Whenever Trent isn't there taking the corners, it always ends up being McAllister, but it really should be Szoboszlai taking the corners. That's just.
I think you kind of go with you put the size in the box as opposed to put the.
Yeah, but if he's more comfortable, because it's the same. I have the same problem with like Gakpo on the left, right? Because like everything I've ever watched about this sport is Gakpo is a center. He's a center offensive forward, right? With his back to goal, he's got the size, he's got the skill with the ball at his feet. Why can't you fucking play in the middle? It just doesn't make any sense. It's like when it's like when your defensive player or your big players at the back for NBA shoot threes. It's like it just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. You see Jokic pulling up for a three, you're like, why? And then it goes in. You're like, okay.
So if you don't, exactly. So if you don't know how Dom plays, it's like, why? You want him in the box. He's a big guy, but like he's not.
Oh, wait. Now Serzi likes Costas. Hold on.
Yeah,
hold on. I was
man.
roasted for Costas all of last season and early this season, and now you want him on corners? Wow.
Honestly,
what are
I
you
used
drinking
to
out
want
there in
like
California?
Like in basketball, they call like like possession timeouts. Like I was like, we have a corner kick. Can we put like Costas in to take the corner and then Robertson can come back in? He hasn't been bad. I'm still, if you looked at the squad and said, Carcass, baby, I don't know if he fits the system or anything like that, but I still think that's a need for this team actually.
We have to get Carcass.
Stuff like that.
We have to.
Let's touch on this weekend real quick. We kind of like went all over the place, but starting 11, I guess midfield is the biggest question, I'm assuming, and maybe the left back. So I'll start with you, Gordo. Who is your starting 11?
It's starting in midfield?
I guess let's go to, I'm assuming we're going Van Dijk, Konate, Trent, right? Kelleher, I'll fill in those. It's like the FIFA, like a sample thing, right? Fill certain spots, you fill the rest. Gravenberch is in there, so you fill the rest. So Mo is on the right.
So
you fill the rest in.
So I've got one player to choose. It's between Jones. It's between Jones or Soboslai. That's the position.
Jones or Soboslai, Costas or.
So the Costas one, I think it's Robertson simply because, like, it seems obvious to me that Costas is Slot's first choice on the left, but the fact that he's played 2 big games, he started against Brighton, also started in the midweek in the Champions League, but Robertson came on at the end, which is sometimes telling for the next game. So I do think Robertson starts this one, but it wouldn't shock me to see Costas out there because it does seem like Slot's favoring him. But I don't think there's been enough rest time, and Robertson definitely does need minutes if we want him to get back to where he's been. So I'd say Robertson, Dom in the midfield over Jones, and then Nunez as a center forward.
And who's on left?
Oh man,
conveniently avoided. You see that? Like, you guys know the rest. Okay.
I might honestly. Diaz deserves it for the hat trick, but if you've got, I've always said this, that Diaz and Nunez offer sort of the same thing in running at players and taking shots probably when they shouldn't, and also like causing a little bit of chaos. And I think you need like that, white collar, left-sided players. So I'd go with Gakpo.
Okay. How about you there, Nunez, man?
Have a great day, Mihaly. We didn't want to interrupt Gordo, but have a great day. Go Kirkus.
What is this?
Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. I would prefer Costas on the left, which is what I've been saying, not just like Serzi hopping on the bandwagon. But I would prefer Costas on the left, and I would prefer Diaz on the left, and I would prefer Darwin up top. And I don't think you need to ask me about the midfield because I would be silly if I had any different answer than what I've been talking about for the past hour. So it's
awesome. After all of this, you were like, I would definitely start Jones.
So who's your midfield? Oh, definitely Jones. He's
Jones, Diaz in the middle, and Gakpo on the left.
Bench that bum dumb.
Yeah. It's Darwin up top, Diaz on the left, a midfield of Gravenberch, McAllister, and Szoboszlai. Obviously, the right is Salah. That's not a debate.
And I'm hoping that tackle he made to kind of get that last goal going.
Oh yeah,
that will help his cause too. But I think Robertson comes in on the back left, just mainly because not that I don't prefer Costas in terms of form, but I think I kind of agree with. He's not the strongest dude himself the way it is. He looks like he hasn't slept in days.
Yeah,
and then you start 3 days back to back, 3 games. I just don't see that happening.
It's because he pulls his hair so far back.
Yeah, that's probably true. No, but it was, I think, last game when he was running with his eyes half closed, and I was watching on my phone with the coworker, and my coworker's like, is he sleepwalking? I'm like, no, he just always has his eyes halfway closed. He goes, holy shit, dude.
He's
takes
resting
20
his
It
eyes.
takes 20
No,
milligrams of edibles before every
And then,
game.
no, and then my friend is like, dude, I guarantee you, he's high as shit. I'm like, no, he can't. He's fine.
looks
He's
like
okay.
it.
Don't
He
worry.
looks like he's high as shit. He goes in there.
So
and
relaxed on the ball, though.
he's like,
Yeah.
oh, unlucky. He's running around going, unlucky.
What a guy. What a
See,
guy.
but I'm with you. I've always liked Costas, and simply like there's just something about a very foreign player, you know, like someone that's never been in England that just totally like, I love this city. I love these people. I want to be a Scouser. Like there's something to that. Like, you know, you can get away with a lot as a player if you can endear to me in that regard. And like he's been.
Yeah,
that way
I
since day one.
think he's smart, dude. This is the Mediterranean scammy brain that we have, the Greeks have, and, you know. So that you're like, okay, doesn't look like I'm ever gonna get this Robertson guy benched. So what do I do? What do I do? I get along with Mo, make him coffee every fucking morning, and then I go around as the Greek Scouser, so they never.
I hashtag all my posts, Greek Scouser. No, but so it's funny enough that you say that. I mean, isn't that what Jones does? He's just a. I'm from the city. I love him.
But Jones comes off the bench and scores a hat trick.
Listen,
but I am starting Szoboszlai just based on the fact that who played midweek. I mean, I think Serzi was saying in the comments, I don't know if it was Mihaly earlier. Oh, no, it is Serzi. I mean, I would not be too opposed to this, even though I don't see it happening. I think we start Mac because we don't know what's going to happen after the international break, who's going to come when and stuff like that. But
what's funny is Serzi talks so much shit about Szoboszlai, but he knows we can't go without him. He's like, he sucks. He must start though. We need to win.
it's the. I know this Big Mac is bad for me, but it tastes fucking good.
Yeah, exactly.
Have you tried the chicken one yet? Has anybody tried the chicken one yet? That doesn't even make sense.
I haven't. See, like
when
we go to McDonald's, my wife is always like, if we do the drive-through, like, what do you want? I got to see the menu. It's been the same goddamn menu. You've ordered the same goddamn thing. We've been together for 12 years. You've ordered the same thing. That's what it is.
It's not to go on a rant, but that is true. Any restaurant we go to, we already get the same shit. And like the waitress is like the same shit. let me see the menu. And then she's like, okay, I'll be back in a couple of minutes. And then she comes back. She's like, yeah, the same shit. I'm like, oh, okay, thank you.
This makes it more formal though. Like I looked at it, it looks like you made an informed decision, even though it's
and it's just like for the uniqueness of it. But instead of the house salad, can I do just a regular salad? Oh, so the house salad, yes. Oh, okay. It's just it sounds different. It's not like bro, just order this shit.
I like trying new things.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's absolute bullshit.
And I think it makes you like especially when it's McDonald's or like fast food, it makes you feel less fat. If you almost like, I don't even know what I want. So I always have the 2 Big Macs. Yeah, I mean, it's
right. But I can't be the only one that gets stressed at the drive-thru and they're like, hurry up, there's people.
That's the person I am. It's like before we even pull in, I know what I want. And I'm like, all right, like rehearsing in my head because I don't want to piss anyone off. This is like the super Midwestern.
That's my biggest pet peeve though. Like, now especially they put the sign up front, but even worse when you go to a place. Like when you're inside of like a fast food place or whatever, like even if it's like Panera or something like that, you kind of like going like you're in line. I mean, we would go after these tournaments and stuff like that. You decide the menu is on top. Like I get glasses or whatever the fuck you got to do, but the menu is up top. So go figure out what you want. I can't see shit, so I have to literally walk up there and I'll be like, yeah, I'm gonna have this. And then I'll tell Angie, I'm like, I'll get this. You order this for me.
But again, like Gordo said, it's been the same fucking menu for 20 years. It hasn't changed.
No, there's like a new sandwich out. We just took the avocados out or something. But I mean, I hate people who wait in line 50 minutes. Then they come to it and they're like, dude, what the hell were you doing?
Yeah. What is your popular motherfucker? It's been the same thing. It's the same thing on the commercial since 2017. That's our popular thing.
I'll try it. Has 6 pieces in it,
and then when you ask the employee, is that good? Bitch, I don't know. Sure, get it.
Wait. Do you guys do that though? I do that. Like I will ask but not like the fast food place. I'm not gonna go to the fast food place like, what do you think about the chicken nuggets? But like at a restaurant, I'll be like, what do you think? What do you think about the lamb? Is the lamb good or what is it?
Well, listen, I've seen how it's made. Everything here is disgusting.
Listen, the biggest problem with that though, and I gotta say, and hopefully she's not watching. My wife would say, "What would you recommend?" And they would say, well, honestly, the waiter or the waitress, I would recommend the seared salmon. It's the best. It's got some asparagus. Oh, really? Yeah. Is it popular? Honestly, it's our number one most ordered thing. Perfect. I'll do the steak. I'm like, why'd you ask?
Yeah.
Why'd you ask?
Yeah, that's exactly that's my wife. Is like,
and the person is like, the person already wrote salmon. He's like, I need to get $1 extra today. And then, you know.
By the way, we
like,
can go in a restaurant, rant for hours probably, but one of my biggest pet peeves is the freaking waiter patronizing me, saying like, "That's a good choice." Like I needed to hear that. Like, I want to know, like, you got the laugh, dumbass.
The waiter said this was good. People are walking by.
Yeah,
like,
can you imagine?
The waiter said this was good.
Can you imagine though? I'll do the lamb. Ew, that's disgusting. Like, oh, okay. What should I get?
You
Not
do
the
you,
lamb.
brother. And
Of course you would. I heard your accent when you came in. I already had it ready.
yeah, I
used to work in a restaurant.
Barbecue place, man.
When I was in college, I used to work at a restaurant, and let me tell you,
what kind of restaurants? Dare I even ask?
Middle Eastern. You know, let me tell you. Yeah. So here's the thing. People, like, you know, you get Turkish people that come in, it's like, this is not good. This does not taste. I'm like, motherfucker, this is not Turkish food. This is Arabic. And then you get white people that come in, and like we would give them like the worst fucking shawarma ever. Oh my god, the best chicken I've ever had. I'm like, this is 7 days old. You know, and they're like,
you know
this
what
is
I
the
noticed,
best thing
like,
ever.
with like, you know, like Arabic food or sometimes like Greek food and stuff. It's almost the same, except this and that, whatever that this is.
It's like like an oil they use or like a seasoning.
Yeah, whatever seasoning. But see, nobody says anything until you get that one Arab customer that thinks they know everything. You know, this does not taste like my mother's food. Well, your mother's dead, brother. That's why. This is in our. This is made in our kitchen.
You're wrong, dude.
Speaking as the only white suburban person here, I'll say this. When we have the confidence, and I'm more like worldly, but like when a group of white people have the confidence to walk into like a Middle Eastern restaurant, they've already made the decision they're going to like the food because they don't want to lie to them. They want to make sure that they made the good decision, right? It's like, it could be the worst food ever. And they're like, this is a great decision. We're really cultured today. I really like this. It doesn't matter. You could literally serve them shit and be like, this is like our national dish. And they're like, this is wonderful.
Like,
I do love my Turkish food.
Yeah. No, listen, they would be eating their food and then I would come in and be like, did you guys need anything else? Yeah. Where are you from? Chicago. Oh, okay. She thought I was gonna be like, I just come from the war, you know, boom, boom, I escape. No, I came from Chicago. I'm a college student, you know. But they always think I'm gonna give them a sob story. Please give me big tip.
You should have worn that Libya shirt to avoid these.
Yeah, I really should. I had to wear a uniform. But no, and then they would pronounce everything wrong. We have a plate called mujaddara, which is like a rice and cracked wheat. It's Mujaddara, mujaddara. It's literally what it's called. And they would come in and they're so cultured. Like, yeah, I'll have the muhaddara. I'm like, motherfucker, this is not Taco Bell. Like, what is a muhaddara? And they don't pronounce the J because they think it's a H sound, like in a Mexican restaurant. Or the chicken shawarma. We'll get the chicken saharma. I'm like, I don't have that. I really don't. Like, I don't know what you want, but I don't carry that. You know,
Habibi combo.
This is kind of stereotypical, but we did have a Habibi combo, which is fucked up.
Are you serious?
Yeah, we had a Habibi combo. It was
I guess they always have like the Bosphorus special or some bullshit like in Turkish restaurants. I guess it's
we had the Habibi combo. Man, those were some good times. I swear. They would be like, so hey, Muhammad, where are you from? Well, that's not my name. For starters,
tell me your real name.
and I was Aaron too. I was Aaron. I'm like, hey guys, my name's Aaron. I'll be taking care of you.
Yeah, did you do that by the way? Like Anan, but nobody's gonna be able to say it, so I'll be Aaron.
Yes. So actually, it was when I was in the furniture industry. When I was in the furniture industry, I gave a woman my business card, and it says Anan Abu Baker, an operations manager, and I give it to her. And she goes, and I swear to God, she comes back and she goes, Aaron, they spelled your name wrong on your card. And I looked and I was like, yeah, they did. Fuck. Yeah, they did. They did. They so did. So now even my business email is Aaron at ashleymidmichigan.com.
Oh my God.
My best thing about my last name is the fact that, you know, when I was especially working in retail, you would like, people were like, what's your name and stuff. And this is before even like, it's probably 10 times. I'm glad I left it when I did. I can only imagine now the amount of Karens they must be getting. But it was, yeah, you know how it goes. So they were like, what's your last name? And I'd be like, Uras. Like, spell that for me. And it was like, Uras. And then, people would think like URNS kind of a thing. It's like, would you say? It's like URAS. And they'd be like, it doesn't sound. You making this shit up?
This This is why it's so much fun. When they get an angry customer and one of my staff doesn't want to deal with it and they want me to, they were like, "Can you please put the Aaron voice on?" Because see, Anon picks up. I'm like, "Hey, how can I help you?" But Aaron's like, "Hey guys, how we doing? I heard there's an issue going on." And they're like, "Hey, buddy." I'm like, "Yeah, what's up? What's going on?" "Yeah, my cat pissed on my couch." I'm like, "Well, you should fucking put it down." I don't know, But they don't get angry because it's Aaron. But as soon as I put Anon on the phone or I put fucking Ahmed on the phone, they're like, hey, asshole. I'm like, "Okay, man, relax. Let me get Aaron on the phone." So yeah, every time,
man.
it's my favorite message. And they're like, "We really have an issue. Please help." I'm like, "Okay, is it an Aaron issue or an Anon issue? Please, Aaron." I'm like, "Oh, I got you." And it's like my favorite thing to do because I put on my Aaron voice, also known as the customer service voice, also known as the white voice, and everybody is.
This is the Egyptian media.
Yeah, listen, this is Michigan, and Michigan is very different these days. So you don't want to be Anon. You really want to be Aaron. It works.
Okay. This is going all over. We're gonna be here I had to let Gordo go because he has to drive 3 hours to the barbecue place. So
I have to go be Aaron right now at work. They're waiting for me.
I've got a meeting, a lunch with my supervisor, and I'm very nervous about it. So I do need to prep.
Okay. Score predictions on the way out.
This is still happening? Okay.
I was saying 3-0 Liverpool.
Are we still on?
Yeah.
3-0?
Yeah.
I like the sound of that. Go ahead, Anna.
I'm gonna go 3-1.
The Timuchin special.
2 goals.
Special 2-0.
2 goals are going to come from Tyrone Mings picking the ball up in the box, in the middle of play. Just like the ball comes in, he just picks it up.
Oh.
Okay, this has been quite a shit show. But enjoy the rest of your Friday. We'll be here for the pre-match. Go to McDonald's, order something from the drive-thru. And be reckless, I guess. Kazi is gonna be sorry he missed this shit show. But we'll be back tomorrow for the pre-match, right after the lineups come out. Do tune in for that and have an excellent Friday, everybody. Take care.